Welcome back to the show called Brand Equity, and I'm Sonali Krishna. A 100-year-old brand is one of the world's leaders in skincare. But Nivea sadly hasn't managed to recreate its runaway success in the West in the Indian market. Despite being one of the first entrants in India, what's gone wrong and has Nivea lost out in the India race? Farah Kapoor brings you this case study. It was 100 years ago in 1911 when Oscar Troplewitz, a German pharmacist and entrepreneur, developed Nivea's landmark cold cream. And globally, especially in Europe, the 100-year-old brand has had a dream run.
Nivea, a happy 1.5 years.
And to celebrate its runaway success, this German brand launched its centennial celebration with one of the most internationally acclaimed artists, Rihanna, to get the party going. But alas, the India story panned out a little different. Despite having the strongest recall and possibly the highest equity in the beauty care segment, Nivea has failed to make a sizable dent in the Indian market. What comes first to mind is the non-aggression of the brand, along with an almost non-existent marketing strategy, which in turn has eaten into Nivea's long-standing brand equity.
What I think Nivea has lacked is serious ambition. I think it has never, invested enough in the Indian market. It has never shown itself to be interested enough. So it's one of those brands that I think has under-leveraged its equity. I think it has historically enjoyed, quite strong equity, and it hasn't done much about it.
Think about where Nivea or Pond's and these brands come from. 30 years ago, they were in the era of our mom's favorite brand, which was a great thing because that signaled value, it signaled heritage. But what has happened over time? Times have changed. We've had a liberalized economy, and Nivea, I think, has just missed the bus.
The skincare market in India is currently on a bull run, with innovations and experimentation at its peak, and Nivea is sadly not on this radar at all. The lion's share is currently held by Hindustan Unilever, which has transformed Pond's from a simplistic mass-market cold cream to an aspirational beauty brand for young Indian women. In the 8,500 crore rupees personal wash segment, A2L commands the market leader position with a 58% market share in 2010, followed by Godrej and Wipro. In skincare, it's a similar story. The key players are A2L, Dabur and P&G, with A2L commanding over 50% of the market share. So has Nivea clearly missed the skincare bus? Is it too late, or is there still hope for this once-upon-a-time iconic brand?
The Western market being more evolved is actually a much bigger market in terms of value. The Indian market in terms of value is small, with lower levels of penetration, but is catching up very, very fast. We are moving ahead in the right direction, and at the same time, in certain categories as of today, if you take a look at category channel combination, we also have market leadership, and we are a very strong number 2. Obviously, there is a lot more work to be done, and the whole focus is on, how do you make the assortment and how do you make the brand investments and the distribution more robust.
It's always a question of focus and priority, one. The second is, when you are a 100-year-old brand, you are willing to take slow and easy steps, which is how you build a brand that is so durable and enduring. Unilever or Hindustan Lever in India has distribution. They have a lot of factories. Okay. Nivea in comparison is young, it's fledgling. Okay. Though it brings with it 100 years heritage in terms of the brand and the values and so on and so forth.
HUL or P&G, they have been talking about huge distribution expansion. Nivea has a reach of about 1.6 million outlets now, trying to look at about 2.5 million outlets. P&G having 1.3 million direct reach, looking to maybe something about 1.82 million outlets is what they would like to see over the next 1-2 years. The opportunity in the Indian market remains huge, but at the same time, the cost of creating that kind of distribution setup is going to be challenging not just for Nivea, for every FMCG company or every MNC which is looking to get penetrated or get a pie of the opportunity in this market.
So with the kind of advantage that Nivea had in India, they should have driven this market. I mean, they were an international brand which was thought of very well, and it's very familiar. Even in terms of visual memory, I think very striking. It comes from also being, not having perhaps the kind of investment muscle that the other companies, in this space have shown. If you look at Unilever, whether it's through Lakme, whether it's through Dove, whether it's through Pond's, and of course there is, Fair and Lovely. So, I mean, you look at the number of brands to which they have activated this market, it tells you that there is a difference in the company behind these brands that makes, that will have an impact, but it's also the brand. I think Nivea as a brand, has simply not done enough.
And while it might be difficult for the brand to penetrate into the soap and personal wash categories, there is still tremendous scope in the skincare and deodorant categories, the two categories in focus for Nivea. In fact, the brand has an 8% share of the 250 crore deodorant market, the third place after HUL and Paris Pharma.
If you look at deos, it's growing in excess of 30% per year. At the same time, Unilever dominates it, but at the same time, it's not that Unilever has been able to increase the market share significantly over the last few years. It's primarily the other smaller. There's a huge cluster of smaller brands. If Nivea plays it well, I think that's the first segment where they can be a real winner.
And the brand plans to use its 100-year anniversary in India to do just that. Build momentum. With a new advertising agency on board and Anushka Sharma as the new face of the brand, the company is working on a more aggressive marketing strategy in India. And while the brand has taken its own sweet time to pick up the pace in the Indian market, it may not be too late.
Vaseline found an excellent niche again in this entire skincare and fairer skin area when they figured that everybody is applying all the creams and lotions on the face, and then the rest of the body is just left alone. So now you did find a niche, and then I think they have really capitalized on that beautifully. So there's a lot that Nivea could do. First of all, is get people to move out of thinking of it as a thin, flat, circular box.
Right now, the majority identifies Nivea as the brand that produces this tin of cold cream. It's seen as a geriatric brand that all our mothers and grandmothers have used. And the road for it to win back its consumers in India is a long and winding one. And undoubtedly, the brand has lost its first mover advantage, but if it builds upon its credibility and familiarity, it can win the race. An advantage many of its rivals lack even today.
Time to get commercial, but you stay glued as coming up, we let the young guns of Beauty Delhi post their boss Ajay Gehlot in a 5-star. Stay tuned.